So good morning, brothers and sisters. Thank you very much for coming. Raymond asked me to do a sermon this week, and I said, no, absolutely not. I said, it should be the people who've been near true parents, yeah? Shouldn't be me. I'm a million miles distant, yeah? So he said, okay, but then I went last week to Lancaster Gate service, and my wife said, why are you spending 5 hours going to a service? Because as we live in the country, it takes a long time. It's half a day to go to a service. I said, I have no idea, but I just have to go. So she said, okay. And then the sermon giver was Mr. Aryan Rai, who is 21, 22, 23, early 20s. And he gave the sermon, and he said, is the grace which you receive bought cheaply? He said, grace is unconditional. It comes to you anyway. But what effort did you make to receive and to deserve that grace? Are you a thief? Or did you actually sacrifice and do something to deserve such grace? I nearly fell off my seat. So I immediately sent a text to Raymond and said, I'm doing the sermon next week. End of story. I will absolutely sacrifice because a 22-year-old told me I had to, and it's undeniable. Yeah. So please, whenever there is a Sunday service, take notes, take mental notes or take physical notes, because you never know when one word that the speaker doesn't understand, actually you understand yourself. Yeah? The speaker has no idea what he's talking about. The audience, in their relationship with God and in their relationship with their conscience, they know what message they need to receive. So I don't think Aryan Rai wanted to frighten me, shock me, or kick me into submission, but that's what he did. Yeah, I don't know whether he even realized it. Yeah, David Hanna gave the sermon 2 weeks ago in this house on the idea of the tuning fork. He said, I always bring a tuning fork. And I thought, okay, Mr. Lebar and me, we studied physics. It's not going to please Mr. Lebar, and it certainly doesn't please me, because we didn't quite get the meaning of the tuning fork that he got out. So I thought, I've got to further that thought in my mind. So he brought a tuning fork. Tuning fork has got two tines or two legs, and they vibrate against each other and together in order to make a noise. What he mentioned, which is quite interesting, is that you can't tune a tuning fork with one. It has to be a pair system. The two legs tune with each other. I asked Peter Graham's permission to misuse his guitar.
Don't break it.
Don't break it. Yeah, not again. Yeah. So I'm going to hit my knee. This is the way to start a tuning fork. You hit the bone on your knee, and it makes a loud sound. Yeah. Now, if you take a tuning fork and you touch it with one end, it doesn't make any sound whatsoever. So it seems that there has to be resonance between the pair system of the tuning fork and between the subject that makes the sound and the object which receives and multiplies the sound. The male is very small. The female is much broader, much wider. The female gives creation, whereas the male gives the seed to the female to make creation. So there has to be resonance between a primary giver, which is a male aspect, and a primary receiver and nourisher, which is the female aspect. and one without the other. Men who don't live with their wives or don't have a wife are dreamers. They're fantasists. I know because my wife told me I was. Yeah? And women are realists. Yeah? They see life as it actually is. Yeah? It's very interesting. The most religious founders are male. They go off to the mountain. They go off to the Lake of Galilee. They have their revelation. What's the purpose of that? You know, when Prophet Muhammad was told, you are now a prophet, it's okay. But unless somebody transcribes it and spreads it, so most of the early bishops in the Christian tradition were female. Yeah? So it's a unity between the person who has ideas and the person who realistically has the power and ability to do something about it. So you need resonance between those two. Those two have to have give and take for creativity to take place. So I am going to give a little story on resonance within the family. The reason I did the title within the family is one of my wife's slogans or mantras about 3 years ago, from 9 years ago till 3 years ago, was, when we die, will we ever meet in the spirit world? She gets up early in the morning. I don't. She does hundok every morning. I don't. Yeah? She contemplates and is very internal, whereas I go out and meet people and I do lots of speeches and lots of teaching. So we're quite different in our nature. So she said, if we are religiously, spiritually, culturally that different, when we die, will we ever meet? She hasn't mentioned that for about 2 or 3 years. Maybe the thought has developed, or maybe she thought for me it was too frightening to have that concept, so she stopped tormenting me with it. Yeah? It really upset me when she first said it, because I respect that every word she says is true. And, you know, whenever you receive something, you have to process it. You have to take responsibility for the content of that thought. Yeah. So I'm thinking there's one elderly church founder who thought, Reverend Moon, Mrs. Moon, they're not the Messiah. They're not religious. They're just a fraud. And then this person died. And Reverend Moon is in spirit world now. Would there be an antagonism in the spirit world? Would there be anger? Or would Reverend Moon, and this is my experience of living with him in Lancaster Gate, would he say, get over your concepts, mate. Let's do something together. Lovely to see you. Heart overcomes these earthly, cultural divisions that we think are so important. We think they're so strong. They're not. God doesn't know who a Christian is and who a Muslim is. God knows who his children are. The kingdom of heaven is family. It is not culture. Culture and religion are human. True love is divine and eternal. So when we reach the spiritual world, we'll reach a realm of love, not a realm of individualism and cultural divisionism. People say, I hate Jews because I'm a Muslim. They have no idea what they're saying. I love you because you're human. You're my brother, you're my sister. That's a godly statement. So whenever I go to a mosque, I say I am a Muslim. I'm a born Christian, but I'm a born-again Muslim, because Jesus and Muhammad adore each other, and they want their descendants not to fight, but to love each other and to marry, form families of unity and peace. Yeah? Therefore, I am a Muslim. Muslim is the man who submits to the will of Allah. That's us, yeah, by definition. You don't have to go on Hajj, but if you do go to Chongpyong, you're lucky. You're blessed. Yeah? It's one of the 5 pillars of Islam to go to Chongpyong. Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Torok, for your talk. Yeah? When we go to heaven, and when do we go to heaven? We go to heaven in Hatch End, or we go to hell in Hatch End. Yeah? Not in the next world, but in Hatch End. You're in heaven when you love people and you're loved by people. You're in hell when you're alone. So how is your character? How is my character? Hellish character or heavenly character? Do we live in the realm of Shimjang? The love that wants to live with the object of their love from eternity to eternity. Or do we think, I don't like him, he's Japanese. I don't like him, he's English. I don't like him, he's Belgian. I don't like him, That's hell. That is really hell. So cultural disunity is hell. Let me put it more religiously. Self-centered, living for the sake of oneself is hell. Living for the sake of others is heaven. Because then others will reflect that and they'll say, wow, you live for me. I love you. Thank you so much. And anybody who is embraced by love feels in the kingdom of heaven already. You don't need to go anywhere. So, what can we do about it? We can change the tuning of our character so that we resonate with more people. If I play a note which is E flat, that guitar will not make any response. But if I play a perfect E, it will go boom, 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 and it will resonate. So two pieces of equipment, the string and the body, have to vibrate with similarity or with reciprocity. They have to have the same frequency. So what do we do to resonate more with God? God is love. That is the purpose of prayer. That is the purpose of meditation, that we learn to resonate with the creator of the universe so that we become more godly. Our thoughts become cleaner, better, more creative. Our contemplation, our inner life takes on a richness which is seen, as Cindy said, by the richness of the creation. Our character has to have a character of beauty if it's living in God. And then we find that God lives in us. And that relationship gives fulfillment, gives purpose. We have to, secondly, give love and service to people so that we resonate with people. This is why True Father said, take 360 homes, representing all the degrees in a circle, and serve them. Serve them unconditionally. They might hate you, they might love you. You have to serve so much that ideally they all come to love you. And thirdly, we have to have spiritual action so that we resonate with spirit world. We have to have many people are experts on angels and they have guidance about angels. It's not one of my specialities, but the idea of resonating with your ancestors, that's quite present to me. Yeah, I experience that all the time. It's very interesting. If you have an ancestor with the same name as you, very often you have a similar character or a similar lifestyle to the ancestor of the same name. Yeah? And the more you do on the earth, the more spirit world will come to you and work through you. So being spiritually responsible allows spirit world to come to you and to express itself and to fulfill all of the desires of the unfulfilled life that all of those spirits had. And they will come to you and give you power, give you authority, or give you miracles and give you constant guidance. Yeah, but the reciprocity there has to be that I know spirit world exists, I'm going to do something about it. And when one does something, then spirit world comes. If one says, oh, I don't believe in spirit world, that's a load of mumbo jumbo. Just spiritualists believe in that. I think they're all silly. And I'm just going to go and watch EastEnders on the television. Of course you're not going to have spiritual revelations unless one of your ancestors has got some specific spiritual power and actually blows the television up right when you're watching EastEnders and says, right, do you not notice that I'm here and that life continues after death? It can happen. I have experienced that. Yeah, not with EastEnders, but with a guitar string breaking in the middle of a really tense meeting. And suddenly the guitar string went, and it broke on the guitar. And we all went, ah! And it was a sort of spiritual feeling for all of us in our witnessing meeting, which was quite spooky. Things do happen at the right time. So resonance within the family. I used to play recorder, your little flute. And my spiritual father, Tim Hewish, said, your recorder sounds horrible, so squeaky. Why don't you grow up and buy a proper flute, he said. Yeah. And so I thought, well, he might have a point. It does sound pretty horrible. Yeah. So I bought a flute and then he was happy. Now, Mrs. Linda Brann is a music teacher and a pianist and the choir master of the New Hope Singers in America. Her husband was the founder of UPF, and we went on a national tour when UPF and Women's Federation were founded a number of years ago. And she would always sit in the center seat in the front row to support her husband. And Louise and me and a few others would get up, she'd play a chord, I'd play one note on the flute, and Linda would cry. And then I realized we have reciprocity now. What she loves, we've done in a loving way. If she didn't cry, I think, crumbs, we need to rehearse a bit better, We haven't made it, yeah? So when I played in front of Tim, he would go, ooh. When I played in front of Linda, she'd go, ah, like that. So this is either the absence of reciprocity or the presence of reciprocity, yeah? So we have to see in our lifestyle, how do we make the other feel? When we walk in, is it an experience of joy, enlightenment, and divine presence for the other person? Or is it just a pain? I really don't want you here, so I'm going to leave now because you are a waste of space. When I went to Lancaster Gate as a photographer in 1978, True Father was there, giving and giving and giving and giving and speaking and speaking. And I thought, I am a thief. I'm sitting here. I have no idea how he's got that much love and how much authority. I am 23 years old, 24 years old, and I'm sitting here pinching entertainment from him and giving him nothing. I am useless. I'm a million miles away from him. It was a hard feeling. I just had to look at myself. Yeah? Am I actually giving anything to him at all? One day I gave True Father my photographs of the 118 blessing. And he said, your photographs are all fuzzy. They're terrible quality, he said. And I said, well, they're actually not my photographs. These are photocopies of the original photographs. You will have to wait if you want the original ones to come back from the Photoshop. And our national leader said, "You do not answer back to Reverend Moon. Wash your mouth out with soap," you know? And he said, and he just put his arms out and smiled to me, you know? And I thought, well, he's made me feel happy. I think I've made him feel happy. And we made the lady national leader really mad. And we both really enjoyed it, True Father and me. We wound her up, you know. And then 20 minutes later, True Father picked up the national leader by his shirt collar and his wife by her shirt collar and pulled them into his big, strong arms and went up to me. Like that, and just held them still so I, at 24 years old, could take a photograph of those three together. Just to say, don't listen to cultural authority. It's heart, it's our relationship, yeah? We're parent and child, we're brother and sister, we're grandparents and grandchildren. The heart matters. That is how we reciprocate, yeah? So, how big is the sphere of your love? How big is the sphere of my love? Do we love enough to love ourselves? Do we love our family? Do we love our community? Do we love our nation? Do we love our world? Many people, they will say, not only do I not love my family, I don't even love myself. And that possibly is a sort of a foundational position. Can you state as a mantra, I am the child of God. I was given by my parent in heaven the authority to walk this beautiful earth and to meet people. As an original child of God, I have inherent value given to me by my parent, the Creator. On that foundation, you can then greet anybody else and say, I love you. God loves me. God must love you logically as well. So let's collaborate. Let's share that love. Let's see what we can do with it. So, what is the practice in our strange unificationist lifestyle? We meet a total stranger. Often an enemy. When I met my spouse-to-be, it was in a state of overt enmity. Yeah? And it took a long time to develop friendship, then to develop kinship, then to develop love, and then to develop a long-lasting, eternal relationship. What a strange movement. Most people say, oh, you fall in love first, and if you like them, well, I'll have 12 boyfriends and 12 girlfriends, and I'll see which one I get on with. They don't get on with any of them. They end up splitting up, and they become experts at splitting up. We meet somebody who may be cute, maybe not cute, yeah? And then we determine that with the love of God, we will love them, yeah? So we have an unlovable spouse. Actually, that's not true. We are the unlovable spouse. The other one is thoroughly lovable. It's us that's the unlovable one. And when we realize that, we think, oh, I've got to do something about that. It's me. It's not them. It's me. I will become lovely. And if I'm lovely, it will create a lovely environment as a consequence. Then we have impossible children. The more children you have, the more stress you will have in your life. I know from personal experience, I've had lots going through my house. I find them impossible. I find my grandchildren absolutely adorable. Yeah, that's a different level of heart. But the level of heart which we were told to embrace when we got married is the fact that you are a parent and your responsibility is to give love, guidance, and tradition to your children so that that tradition can then be passed on for eternity. It's really hard He said, who are you talking to, Papa? You're telling me what to do? Don't you realize I'm an individual? I tell myself what to do, so you can't tell me what to do. That's why we were recommended to go witnessing for 3 years first, to learn how to talk to people and then apply the same method of teaching to our own children. If you go straight ahead and have children, you'll run across a great big brick wall and you will not know how to overcome it. I found out, now that I'm 68 this year, 69 in a couple of weeks, I found out about 4 years ago how to have a happy Christmas. Can I give you a tip how to have a happy Christmas? Don't talk. No authority, no direction, no finger pointing. Finger pointing is seriously insulting. Yeah? You just keep quiet. You have no food on your plate. And you wait until your children see that you've got no food, and they say, Papa, do you want some food? At that point, you've achieved a reciprocity, a unity, and peace in the family. So peace never comes by talking, it comes by not talking. That's my tip for the day, for the 24th and 25th of December. So we then go out witnessing in a hostile environment. People say, oh, you're a Muni. That's a cult, isn't it? Oh, you want to say, no, it's not. They say, well, you said it's not, therefore it must be. How do you get over that? Yeah? You have to serve unconditionally, year after year after year. Yeah, we can see Watford Interfaith is an example of that. Unconditional service until they say, hey, you guys, you're not too bad. What's your religious tradition? You say, what? I thought Moonies were horrible. You're gorgeous. What's going on in my mind? And I say, I know what's going on in your mind. Cultural confusion. Yeah, and I'm here to sort it out. And that's why I served you for 5 years without opening my mouth. True Father did that in the early Christian churches in Korea before he started his own movement. He served other religious movements as a Sunday school teacher or as whatever menial task. He did what he could. So do we. So we serve impossible spouse, impossible children, impossible environment again and again until we build the kingdom of heaven ourselves by our actions and by our consistency. Yeah. So the Indians talk about Vasudeva Kutubakam, which means the world is one family. Yeah, we work to make the world one family. There's one parent, so there's one world. There's one universe. There's one physics. There's not a physics for communists and a physics for capitalists. There's just the law. Yeah, there's divine principle. That's all that exists. So our kingdom of heaven means the whole world with a resonance of unity. It doesn't mean you can't have cultural differences, but it means they need to resonate with unity so that the sum total of two people meeting is the creation of a new creation. So Peter the Apostle had a dream of a sheet coming down from heaven with all sorts of animals, clean animals and unclean animals. And he was told by the voice, eat all of it. He said, I cannot, with my religious tradition, eat unclean animals. And God told him, everything I've made is clean, therefore you can eat. What it really meant is you shouldn't keep this new religion as a Jewish cult. You have to expand it for Gentiles as well, and it will grow globally. Yeah. So I think, and it says in the Bible that as a consequence, many, many people were baptized and the Holy Spirit came and they said to Peter, please do not go back to your hometown. Please stay with us at least another few days. Yeah. So, in conclusion, do we resonate? sonorously. I couldn't avoid using that long word, I'm sorry. Sonorous, with sound, yeah? With two sounds coming together to make an orchestral unity. Do we resonate sonorously in our family, in our nation, and in our world, or even in our own consciousness? When you sit in a quiet night, in a quiet room in your house, if you've got one, or if you go up the mountain, is that good music coming into your mind, or is it chaos and confusion? If it's chaos and confusion, you should do something about it. So the kingdom of heaven, in my view, is a place of deep gratitude. A little exercise for you now. Could you count how many people or how many beings you are grateful for right now? And don't say it, just think about it. Like, how many people? You're grateful for your grandparents? You're grateful for true parents? You're grateful for your spouse? You're grateful for that impossible person in the office who always argues with you? If we live a life of constant gratitude for those around us, they'll feel it. If we live a life of antagonism, if you talk bad about somebody and you meet them, there's this negative energy that goes, ugh. If you speak positively about people and you meet them, even after 10 years of absence, you'll go, and you'll become one. So what is our contemplation? Is it one of gratitude to everyone? Yeah? So Jesus said two contradictory things. Yeah? One was, whenever two or more are gathered in my name, I will be there. This is a promise. This is a covenant. But then he said, only those who do the will of heaven will enter the kingdom of heaven. If you don't do the will of your Father in heaven, I will say, get thee hence, you evildoers, I know thee not. So it seems that the reciprocity between Jesus and us is whether we live a lifestyle like Jesus did. Not proclaim to be Christian, but live a lifestyle that Jesus lived. So if we do the will of God, whatever culture, whatever religion we come from, not important, yeah? But do we live the love of others that Jesus exemplified, yeah? So Matthew 18, it says you have to be like a child to enter the kingdom of heaven. You have to have this willingness to go to your parent God and to say, what do you want to say? You know, what shall I do? Let's have fun together, like a grandparent and a grandchild. Yeah? So, have we in this room lived with our true parents? Have we done what true parents did? Yes, absolutely. So every little molecule of goodness that we've lived in our lives, Jesus and true parents will recognize that. Will they hold resentment? Absolutely no way. They will just say, congratulations. You're weak, you're little, but you did the best you could. Yeah? So the true parents will not say, I don't recognize you. When we pass on to the next world, we will not go into some cosmic vacuum when nobody is there. We will go to the place where we're welcomed by a reciprocal frequency, by people who've lived in the same way that we have. And we've all sacrificed. We will meet sacrificial people. We've all loved. We will meet loving people. We've all prayed. We will meet God. We've all honored Jesus. We've all honored true parents. We will walk right into their palace. This is my confidence. This is my prediction and feeling, you know. So Jesus loved all the world. Everybody. That's how we have to end our life. Being able to say, I love the world. Then we will be one with Jesus. And the last prayer of True Father before he ascended, he said, I have completed all things. He didn't complete the building of the temple or complete the global highway or complete one plan he had, which is to put a university in every country in the world. But did he complete the idea that he had given the love of God and the tradition of God to all people in all countries for all of his life, to the absolute ultimate of his being? Yes, certainly. There's nobody, you like him, you don't like him, but there's nobody who would doubt that he didn't give his heart unconditionally to absolutely everybody that he met for all of his life, from early childhood up until his passing. So this is our mission statement that we should be able to do, to say, I have completed my life of love on this earth before I die. So let us pray. Our beloved Heavenly Parent, the life and self-sacrifice and salvation of Jesus, and the life and self-sacrifice and accomplishment of true parents are such a huge goal, such a huge model for us to follow. We're so sorry that we have only just begun on our path of accomplishing a fraction of what they've accomplished. But we really pray that today we can focus our lives on giving ourselves into your service, into the service of mankind, into the service of our family, into the service of our descendants and the tradition that we leave behind, so that the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of unity, the kingdom of oneness between mind, body, between heaven and earth, and between all of mankind can be accomplished as our true parents have asked us. We thank you, and we thank you for guiding us to this beautiful service today with beautiful people, with the presence of Jesus, the presence of the Holy Spirit, the presence of our true parents in our midst. We thank you, and we pray this now as a report in the name of the Rennie family, Central Blessed family. Amen.